Good afternoon, my name is Jason Flowers from Tisski, and this demonstration is a brief introduction to Microsoft Power BI and how it can be used to gain better insights into business data. So jumping straight in, we are actually looking at the Power BI website application, and all work done within Power BI is actually done through a workspace. So I'm just going to jump straight in and I'm going to create a workspace called Demo Workspace. So I'm just going to create that. This will be a blank workspace where we can start creating assets. Now, out of the box, Power BI has a lot of content packs or applications pre-built as a starting block in order for you to customize as you see fit, and does a lot of heavy lifting for you if you want to start with something quite comprehensive straight away. So right here I'm going to click on Get Services, and what you'll see is a long list of options, both from Microsoft and third-party vendors, accessing various data sources, and Power BI can bring data from on-premise, from the cloud, from different applications or line of business systems using different technologies, and we'll look at a little bit more into that in a bit. But in this scenario, what we're actually going to do is we're going to pull data from Microsoft Dynamics Nav, ERP data, and we're going to pull it from a live instance running on Azure. So I've just done a quick search for Dynamics Nav, and I'm just going to click Get Now here. Now, how this is going to access Nav is actually through an OData, an Open OData URL. So I'm just going to grab that URL here, and I'm going to paste that in. Now, typically, once I've done this and I've clicked Next, it'll actually prompt me for authentication. However, I've already been authenticated to this data source, so it'll immediately start importing that data, setting up the assets in order to support the default set of reports and eventual dashboard from that live instance of Microsoft Dynamics Nav without me really interacting with it. So straight away there you can see a dashboard with a certain amount of visuals on, and obviously we can drill into these visuals. So for example, this one, we can see the top customer overview, and we can cross filter between these visuals, such as selecting Belgium. And if I just open the workspace, you can see the three assets it's actually created here. So we've got a data set, we've got a report, and then we've got a dashboard of which the visuals are driven from the reports. So without drilling into the actual meaning of these visuals, just a re-show of how quick it is to start with something quite impressive and insightful from business data through Power BI with minimal effort. So what you may or may not have noticed is that in the top right, when I actually did this, it asked me if I want to get further insights from this data, and I'll be touching on that a bit later. But essentially, that is the ability for Power BI to actually suggest insights that it has gathered and suggest visuals that you might want to add to a dashboard. And obviously on this dashboard I can then go and customize it, so I can add a tile, I could add images, text box, videos, streaming data, or other elements from existing reports that I may or may not have created. So so what I'm going to actually do now is I'm going to jump in, I'm going to start from absolute scratch and not use one of those content packs or applications, and show you how easy it is actually to start bringing the same Microsoft Dynamics Nav data in, as well as data from Microsoft Dynamics 365, and do a mashup between those two and create a dashboard from scratch. So to do this, what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to bring up the Power BI desktop application, which is essentially the same functionality as you could do this through the website application, but is a thick client installed on the desktop. And then with the ability to create bring in your data, create your reports, create dashboards, and actually publish that to the cloud and make it available through Power BI. So in a similar vein, we have get data. So in this instance, as I say, there are many ways of getting data from many different sources, both on-premise and cloud, and you can just see a sample of them here as I scroll down, both Microsoft Azure, for example, but Salesforce and Facebook and various sources. In this scenario, just like I did 5 minutes ago, I'm actually going to choose an OData feed, and I'm going to connect to the live Microsoft Nav instance that we were actually using to build that previous dashboard. So what that's actually going to do now is it's actually going to query that OData web service, and it was going to give me some of the queries I can then further do onto it. So in this scenario, I'm interested in the top customer table. So I just select that, and it will give me a preview of that data, and I'm quite happy with that. So I'm going to close and apply. Now what you'll see is it's running that query, and on the right hand side it will automatically have the fields to start making available those fields for me. But in this demonstration I also want to pull in additional data sources, and that would be incident data from Microsoft Dynamics 365. So data related to incidents relating to the customers from Nav. I could do that by OData and various other techniques. In this scenario, I'm actually going to bring it from Excel just to show a different type of data sources, and I've got that case data exported from Dynamics 365 into Excel. So once again, it's going to have a look at the data I've passed it, and in this case, I'm interested in all cases, and it's going to give me another preview of that data, and I'm just going to load that into the Power BI desktop application. Once again, on the right hand side, we'll now see we actually have two tables or queries, the bottom one being nav and the top one being all the cases from Dynamics 365. And the one last thing I need to do before actually building a report or dashboard is actually create, or adding visuals to the page, I need to actually manage relationships and just relate these two data sources together. Now in this scenario, I'm just going to click manage relationships, I'm going to select new, I'm going to select the data from nav that I've pulled in, and I'm going to select the customer number. And then from Dynamics 365, I'm actually going to choose the field that also represents the customer number, and I'm just going to simply press OK and then close that, and that will link these two data sources together via the customer number. So I am now going to drag in, then you can start building reports and dragging in visuals. So here I'm actually going to just click on tree map. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger so that it's more aesthetic, and I'm going to pull in the number of cases, the count of the number of cases as the actual value to this visual, and then I'm going to choose, and that's from Dynamics 365, and then I'm going to choose the name of the customer into the apologies for that, the name of the customer into the grouping of this visual, and straight away you can see a visual that whose elements are the size of the amount of cases those individuals have, the cases coming from the actual cases within Dynamics 365 and the actual customers coming from Microsoft Nav. Now on top of this I'm going to choose a stacked chart just to have, apologies, that's me changing the visual. I'm actually going to just select into a spare space, and I'm also going to insert a stacked chart and have a look at this data across the year. So in this case I'm actually going to just move these visuals around a little bit so that we can see. Just going to drag those nice and wide and fill up the report page, and once again I'm going to choose the count of the actual cases to represent the value on that stack chart, and I'm interested in actually the date on the axis, so across the years. So therefore that gives you the proportion of incidents across the years of all customers. But notice that when I select on one of these visuals, it actually does a cross filter automatically. So if I select the largest, you'll see how much proportion in the second visual, how much proportion of those stack column charts comes from that particular client, and I can click around. Similarly, if I'm interested in how many of the 2016 cases in this scenario are distributed across clients, I can select that, and it will actually show me in the top visual the proportion of those incidents for each client that are actually within 2016. So pretty simple report and very easy to create. So before publishing this to Power BI, I'm actually just going to flip into a different layout, and that's the phone layout. Now the phone layout obviously allows me to lay out this report or dashboards with the same set of visuals but more appropriate for the portrait dimensions of a typical phone. So on the right hand side here you can see the same visuals that are already configured, and I can resize those to make them more appropriate. So I'm just going to do that now. Okay, so that's that done. So flicking back to the desktop layout, I'm pretty happy with that now, so I'm just going to click publish. Now obviously there are a huge amount of different types of visuals and more complex reports you can build, just as we saw when I created the nav dashboard through the content pack, but this is just really a simple demo to show how you can get up and running. So I'm just going to save this locally, and when I do, once I've done that, it's actually going to allow me to publish it to the cloud into Power BI, and I'm just going to enter my credentials here from onto the cloud. And here it's going to enumerate the workspaces I've got available, and as you can see, we've actually got the demo workspace we worked in earlier, so I'm going to select that one. And it's going to publish this Power BI desktop created set of reports and data sets up to Power BI, and similarly I can actually open it from the web application and open it in Power BI to continue work if I really wanted to. So I'm just going to open that dashboard now within the website application. You'll see that there's full fidelity in relation for the visuals that I've created and the ability to cross filter across those two visuals. Now this is actually, if I open this, you can actually see this is a report. But what I can actually do is I can pin this live page. So I'm just going to select pin this live page. I'm going to create a new dashboard. I'm going to call it demo-1, and I'm going to pin that live. And this allows is, and then you can see it's complete at the top. I can click on it on the left, and it's a dashboard with the live same visual and the same report. And if I click on it, I actually go into the report. But I can then add other reports to the same page. I can resize it. I can add tiles. As I could with the other content pack, and start customizing. So we can create multiple reports, and we can pin either the whole report or elements of the single visuals from a report into the dashboard. Now, as soon as I've actually made this available into Power BI, one of the very interesting things is that is me making a conscious decision to actually what visuals I'm going to create, and also a bit of knowledge around the fields to set the axes correctly. But one thing that's really powerful within Power BI is actually allowing Power BI to suggest visuals and analyze your data and present it to you for you to potentially add to your own dashboards. So I'm just going to I'm looking at the demo workspace here, and we can see the two dashboards. I'm just going to flick over to data sets, and we can see our demo 10 data set here. And if I just click on more options here, I've got get insights, and I'm just going to click that button. And what this is going to do is going to actually look at the data I've imported without me telling anything about that data, and it's going to suggest to me a series of insights that you might be interested in, so that you can subsequently add to reports or dashboards. So I'm just going to wait that to finish, and this can happen on any data you've pulled into BI. And once it's finished, as you can see top right, I can click View Insights, and this is going to show me a list of visuals that maybe I hadn't thought of, or trends I hadn't thought of, or maybe I see of value. So for example, in this case, I am interested in the number of cases broken down by their priority. So I'm just going to drill into that again, and I'm quite interested in this one. So I'm going to say, yeah, okay, I'm going to pin that visual. So I'm going to pin that visual to my demo dashboard. So yeah, that was useful. And you can see here that actually without any data knowledge, you could actually start, as long as you can bring the data into Power BI, it can suggest your own visuals. You can actually start making your own dashboard from scratch without actually using complex rules. So if I just flick back to this dashboard now, you can actually see that I've now built up this dashboard, and once again I can click into it and have a look at it at will. So the other great thing about Power BI is it allows you to, once you've finished with a series of dashboards, a series of reports and your data sets, you can actually create what is known as an app, which really is just a package of these assets and visuals that you can then distribute to other users. So if I just flick back into my workspace, so my demo workspace, you can see top right here I can actually publish app, and what it's going to give you is some basic branding information. So I'm just going to say demo app 1. We can select some content that's going to be there, and I'm quite happy with that content. My landing page, so in this case I'm actually going to use our demo dashboard that we pinned that last visual on, and I'm going to supply this to at least one person, but in this case I'm going to reply it to myself. We can apply it to your entire organization, and you can click finish, and this will actually publish an application. And I can copy that URL out that it's created for me and share that with other people, or other individuals who have access to this could access it either from the Power BI website application, or more importantly a mobile application. So what I'm actually going to do now, if you bear with me, is just to spawn my iPhone and share that on the screen, the mirror. Okay. Just waiting for that to show. Here we go. And Power BI is freely available through the App Store on multiple devices. So here I'm just going to select Power BI, and you can access the same visuals and the same content you can on the website application. And it also does come with notifications. So here you can actually see that I've actually created a demo workspace, and the demo workspace has been added. And I can just have a look at my workspaces, and there's the demo workspace we were looking at. And there's the dashboards that we've created, and there's the reports we've created. And if I just flip into apps, although it might take a second, we should actually end up seeing the app there as well. But what's really powerful for end users and business users on this is that once you've actually published your dashboard, without actually doing any work, you can actually ask it questions in plain English. So you can see here from the on the bottom left of the screen, there's actually what looks like a message app. So again, before I do that, I just wanted to show you that actually you can similarly dig into these dashboards, and you can actually, the same cross-filtering, the same visuals, the same interaction is available on the mobile device as it was both through Power BI Desktop and the web application. But going back to this little text button in the bottom left hand side, I can click this text button, and as you remember, I pulled Microsoft Nav ERP customer data into this dashboard, but I also pulled in some information in relating to in fact I didn't click finish on that, so let me just do that. I pulled in Dynamics data in related to cases, but I've really told it nothing about that data. And what I'm actually going to do is just ask it a simple question: how many cases are resolved? Now it will prompt me with auto suggestions around what I might be looking at, but I'm just going to ask that question, and what this is going to do is use some language interpretation techniques and try to resolve that. And as you can see, it's given me a count, the number of resolved cases within all my cases. So there is just a very quick demo of how quick and easy and powerful Microsoft Power BI is to reach out to multiple data sources, mass that data up, and actually gain insights in relation to your business data. In this scenario, we can see the largest customer offender of incidents. We can see the split of incidents across all of our customers with some interaction relating to them, and we've even got to the stage where we can actually talk in plain English to our dashboard and it give us a sensible answer, whilst also suggesting other visuals or other trends that might be of interest to us. So I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks a lot.